Good afternoon, graduates, students, teachers, families, and friends of Maple Street. My name is Peter Hirschberg, and as chair of the board of the Maple Street Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the class of 2021 graduation ceremony. We have arrived at the end of an extraordinary year for our school. The need to keep our community safe during the pandemic has called on us all to learn, work, and play in new ways, to adjust to new realities, and rise to new challenges. I'm proud to say that everyone here has met these challenges while focusing on the core values of education at Maple Street: caring community, academic excellence, and joyful learning. This outdoor mass graduation obviously looks different than a traditional ceremony. Its differences are a welcome representation of Maple Street's unshakable spirit this year. Today, we have created a way to come together as a caring community in celebration of our graduates and our mission. But as we take this time to celebrate the 8th graders and mark this moment in their lives, we look back not just on the past year, but on the past 9 years of academics. From learning the alphabet to getting lost in slim chapter books, to performing Shakespeare, our graduates have been working, playing, learning, and rising to new challenges since the first day they walked through elementary school doors. And as they leave Maple Street today, we look ahead not just to the summer and the fall, but to all the coming years, when they will continue to work, play, learn, and rise, bolstered by a fundamental sense of community and of joy. Parents of our graduates in Maple Street class of 2021, feel proud of yourselves today. Your Moose community is proud of you. We're looking forward to hearing what you have to say today and to helping you joyfully rise in the months and years to come.
Hi, I'm Jeff Chamberlain. I'm the 8th grade, the upper school social studies teacher in the 8th grade homeroom. So I've had these guys for a whole year. It's been a great year. We've had 6 new students to a class that includes a lot of students that have been here since kindergarten. So it really changed the dynamics for the positive, and we've had a great year. Traditionally, Maple Street has not had a valedictorian type speech. We've asked that all the students give a speech or a performance or interpretive dance. Nobody's really taken us up on that yet, but we'll see. And so first up will be Asher Barron.
Yeah. Thank you to Maple Street School. You've allowed me to balance my training and racing schedules in my 2 winter terms at SMS with my academics so I can improve what I love most, ski racing. Maple Street School is so special because many other schools, including the one I used to go to in Boston, did not provide flexibility for student athletes in my situation. Without these teachers at Maple Street, I would never have been accomplished my achievements in ski racing. They have helped me stay on task with all my work and assisted in making a smooth transition right back into my lessons after winter term. Without Maple Street, I would never have been able to train as hard as I did to make me a better ski racer. Thank you, teachers. Next, I would like to thank my classmates. I arrived at Maple Street in 6th grade, and I was immediately welcomed by the students in my grade. At first, it took me a little time to settle in and settle down. But once I did, I made friendships that were so strong, like none I had had in my previous school. At my old school, I found there were social cliques, even within my grade of 40 students, that made it feel very divided. Here at Maple Street School, everyone talks and plays together. Yes, some people's friendships are stronger than others, but that doesn't stop people from hanging out and talking with each other. Everyone here is always ready to give people a second chance, and they are kind to everyone, whether you know them for 10 years or just 1. Here at Maple Street, everyone is welcome. Before COVID, I enjoyed the fact that we could sit next to kindergartners during Thursday all-school lunches and talk. At my old school, I might have known the name of 1 kindergartner. Also, I find that people know people from different area schools. I have friends who will hang out with MEMS and Floodbrook kids, just as easily as Maple Street kids. I really love how we have a small community here. It allows everyone to know many more people than might be in the case of a larger school community. Because everyone is so close together, for people living in Vermont their whole lives, they might not understand how special this is. In Boston, I knew the names of my whole grade and only talked to probably half of them. I certainly did not know many kids from different schools unless they were on my sports team. In the community at Maple Street, everyone helps each other out, even though you might not be very close friends. And this is what makes Maple Street a truly great school. Thank you to the teachers and kids for making my 3 years at Maple Street the best school years I have ever had. And now I'd like to welcome up my friend and classmate, Nick Claudia.
Waking up early that morning in September, I was on my way to a new school, and I was thinking how this school is so different from my last school. To start with, there are so few kids in the 8th grade here. Coming from a class with 140 classmates, I didn't know what I was going to face on my first day. All I knew is that I lost my friends from my old school. That being said, I didn't know anyone here. That fear that I had was lost as soon as I realized how welcoming and caring this community is. After my first day, I started quickly making friends. I feel like this year has been one of the longest years of my life. First starting with COVID. COVID interfered with a lot, like preventing traveling, and all the field trips we could have been enjoying this year. But making new friends has made this year go by a lot faster. I think this year I've taught myself a lot in starting my own paths. I've always followed my older brother's path for many years because we share some of the same interests like snowboarding. When he left for the military in January, I was forced to make my own paths. It was always easy to go along with him. Now that he's gone, I'm doing my own things. This year has been a good year, but it's also a very different year, which I liked a lot. I discovered that I'm more flexible in difficult times, and everyone is working together through this. Thank you, Maple Street community, for helping me and welcoming me through this year. And now I'd like to invite my fellow classmate, Charlie Sear, to the podium.
As a few of you may know, I love doing puzzles. I have probably done hundreds of puzzles in my life. Puzzles often with thousands of pieces taking days of hard work. My strategy is always to start with the edges, then move to the middle. The edges or framework being the Maple Street community and my family and friends that surround and support me, and all the pieces within the edges building and sharpening my identity. Pieces from the day I started in kindergarten connect with pieces for each of the years that followed. Pieces connecting and shaping my academics and values, starting to create a picture. A picture inclusive of being a good friend, teammate, and classmate. My family, mom and dad, thank you for everything. Thank you for the sacrifices that you make in order to get me through school. Hannah and Hillary, thank you for always being there when I need you. The memories we create together as a family become new pieces to the puzzle. Thank you to all of my teachers, friends, and classmates for adding your own pieces to my puzzle. With each piece, you help ease the way to navigate where the next one goes. Some of the pieces include playing Maple Street soccer every fall until the winter snow covers the fall leaves. Then there is the slow culmination of snow until Stratton Mountain opens, where I will ride every Friday with my amazing family and friends. All of my life I have been surrounded by some truly amazing people. The Kellys, the Morans, and the Webbers, 3 of my other families. From cramped gondola rides on Fridays to the smoky fires treating us with burnt s'mores. To backyard badminton, the puzzle continues. Sometimes a piece doesn't fit quite right, so you maybe rotate a bit or reach for another. I learned this along the journey to try and try again and never give up. It is all part of the process. The final few pieces of the puzzle always seem to go the quickest, the same way my 8th grade year has gone. It isn't a race to the final piece, it's about the journey and the path you take. And finally today, after 9 years, the diploma, soon to be handed to me, I hope, will mark the completion of my Maple Street puzzle. I am sad to leave, but also excited and prepared to open and start a new puzzle at BBA. Now it would be my honor to introduce my good friend, Holly Dick.
Okay. When I heard we were moving from California to Vermont, I was really excited. I was mainly excited because I was sick of doing school online, but I think that if it were any other year, I would have definitely been panicking and worrying about what it would be like to move across the country and also not know what was going to happen. Thankfully, throughout 2020, I became more used to sudden changes and unpredictability. In the fall, I had absolutely no idea what the year was going to look like. I didn't know what to expect for school, sports, or even simpler things like the weather. Although I became better at quickly adapting to new situations because of COVID, that didn't change the difficulty of adjusting to new surroundings, and the uncertainty of what my life would look like after the pandemic was over. When I got in the car last August to start my expedition across the country, I was excited, but also kind of scared of the reality of what I was actually doing. As hard as I tried to stay calm, there was no ignoring the fact that my life was drastically changing. Be that as it may, I know that if the past year has taught me anything, it's that stressing about things you can't control is pointless. I have realized that whether you're living in California or Vermont, you will have opportunities to learn and grow. I also recognize that it is important to keep a positive attitude and make the most of every situation. Looking back at the year and what I've learned, I feel even more grateful for this experience. Another thing that this year has helped me understand is that change isn't always easy, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. If my life hadn't changed, I wouldn't have played soccer in the fall, skied in the winter, or been able to physically go to school the entire year. I'm so thankful for the opportunities that I've had here, the exposure to a new part of the world, and the welcoming people. Moving on to high school next year, I'm excited and nervous, but I'm still trying my best to remember everything I've learned and continue to be as positive as possible. I'm now pleased to introduce my fellow classmate, Maverick Khaliba.
I've been at Maple Street School for 8 years. Over the course of these 8 years, I have met so many good people that are now my friends. I've also met so many good teachers that made me learn to the best of my capability. And I've also had so many great memories with my friends here. When I first came to the school, it was in first grade. I always looked up to the older classes, but when I first got there, I was really up to my older brother Phoenix, who was also new there in 6th grade. Looking up to the older kids when I was younger really showed me how important it is to set a good example. Another memory I have is when I was in 4th grade and our class was doing an activity where we were trying some foods. So Shay and I went to try some tomatoes, and when we started eating them, we immediately ran to the trash can and spit them out. We both looked at each other and broke out in laughter. Many of my memories here only seem like they happened yesterday. I also remember last year when it was soccer season and our team was playing Floodbrook from over the mountain. I was on defense and the ball came to me, and I was about at half field. I wasn't thinking too much about scoring, but I just wanted to get the ball off our side. So I kicked it out and it was high in the air. I thought it was going to go over the goal, but it didn't, and went right above the goalie's head and I scored. These 3 memories are not the only great memories I've had here. There are so many more that I will hopefully remember for the rest of my life. But a lot of these memories wouldn't have happened to me if I didn't have my parents, grandma, and my brother to give me rides to games and take me to school and push me to the best I could, so I thank you. I also thank the coaches that I've had who made me get better each year I played basketball and soccer. Last but not least, I thank all my teachers that encouraged me to learn to the best of my capabilities as I get ready to head to Burton next year. I hope to have as great as an experience I had here with more memories that will be as memorable as the ones I made here. And now I would like to invite my fellow classmate Ben Kirkpatrick to this podium.
If I had to pick a word to describe this year, it would be fast. It feels like just yesterday, I walked around Maple Street for the first time, stumbling into my classroom and staring at the people who would become my classmates. A year ago today, I was stuck in a house in Vermont, like most of you were as well. I was debating with myself whether or not to attend a school in Vermont or continue attending my school in New York City digitally. And with me talking to you all now, I think it's fairly obvious which I chose. And I'm glad I made that choice. I remember meeting Mr. Chamberlain for the first time in person, seeing semi-familiar faces I remember from a hike up Stratton in the week prior to school that I could not complete. Eating lunch in the amphitheater and saying to myself, okay, well, whatever, as a defense mechanism for my unease, and responding with, I don't play sports every time someone asked me what sports I played. I remember sitting around a table, eating lunch with Clem and Grayson, Clem reading a book, and Grayson listing off the exact order of ingredients to which a salad needed to be dressed. I remember meeting my teachers for the first time, getting out of school for the first time, getting someone's phone number for the first time, going to soccer practice for the first time, driving home from Maple Street School for the first time, using a lunchbox for the first time, and talking to people for the first time in a long time. Throughout the year, we've developed as students as well as individuals, and some of us picked up on new passions. In my case, I grew a passion for editing, whether it was a muscular dinosaur or a video for a team project. And ultimately, the people who helped us become a better student and people were our teachers, who encouraged us to become better than we were the day before. Over the past 9 months, we found people, established bonds, and built off of each other during this difficult year. And while those bonds can never truly be severed, I fear we will lose touch with each other over time. As some of us go to different schools, and some of us find new people to call our friends, we can never go back to how things were during this school year. I've heard people talk about how ready they were to move on to high school, and while I understand their points, it's also important to try to remember each individual day of the past school year, for we will never experience those days as 8th graders again. And so as this year comes to an end, I want to thank my family, I want to thank all my awesome teachers, and I want to thank my classmates and my friends. I hope to see all of you in high school, and I wish each of you the best of luck in the future. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you my classmate, Lila Loud.
To be completely honest, I was struggling to write a speech. Writing is probably not my strong suit, so I decided to do something that is. Art. As I was writing my speech, I didn't know how to put what I was trying to say in words. I was trying to talk about how my life changed and how I ended up here and thanking the people that got me here and supported me through this year. I just couldn't. So I put it in my art. I painted 4 portraits of myself as a baby, a toddler, an in-between, and a now. Life changes so drastically and so quickly, little me could have never imagined I'd be here today. As my life has changed and altered in so many ways, and so many times, I've learned that it is important to embrace these changes. Once you embrace all the curveballs thrown at you, life becomes so much more better and much more interesting. So, as I complete my journey as a middle schooler and onto high school, I don't know, I'm glad that I'm here. So. I'm now pleased to introduce my classmate, Anna Markrow.
The past couple of years has been unpredictable, crazy, and we never really knew what was next. I never thought we would have to go to school, wear masks, and not be able to see the ones you love. These challenges have made being at school extremely difficult, and I am so grateful for what people at the school have done. So I would like to thank the teachers for helping me in a myriad of ways. All the teachers here are amazing, but I'd like to say an extra thank you to my upper school teachers. Thank you for always pushing me to become the best academic version of myself that I can possibly be. I feel confident in myself because of the teachers here, and I am so grateful for that. I'd also like to thank my parents for everything that they do to make my dreams a reality. Thank you guys for all the love and support you have given me throughout the past 9 years. One aspect that I love about Maple Street is how kind and supportive everyone is here. I've never felt like I am ever being judged, and I know everyone here has my back. I remember my first day of kindergarten with Miss Brown. I went out for recess and looked on the playground and saw that everyone was older and with their friends, and I felt sort of alone. I just started to cry, and then a couple of the older kids came next to me and started talking about how much I'm going to love it here. They told me their names, and we talked about how similar our first names were. Then they said that I could sit with them during next recess. I've never forgotten that because at that point I knew this school was for me. Maple Street has also prepared me academically for high school, and I feel confident that the skills I've learned here will help me in the future. Whether it is figuring a tough math problem or remembering my words on Membean, I feel like Maple Street has done so much to prepare me for what is next. I'm a lifer, and that means I have been here since kindergarten. That's 9 years. People here are like my second family, and moving to a new place is going to be hard to adjust to, but I am just as excited for the next step in my life. These past years have been These past 9 years have been incredible, and I am so thankful for every opportunity that I have been given. Thank you. Now it's my honor to introduce my friend Clement Mikhailov.
My family has been a massive support to me, even when I am not exactly the nicest to them. I have 3 dogs. 2 of them are girls. Their names are Fergus, Penny, and Astrid. And I have 3 sisters, so my dad, Fergus, and I are outnumbered by all of the girls, 2 to 1. The dogs are very comforting to me, and I like it when they spend time with me. My family has been helping me get my homework done, even when I don't want to do homework. For example, my dad has helped me study for my math test on a number of occasions. My mom has always stayed with me when I have to go to the doctor. My parents go out of their way to make sure that there is extra support at school to help me with my homework so I don't have to do so much at home. Mrs. Calder has an amazing fluffy dog named Jax, who is massive and amazingly fluffy. Mrs. Duddy and Mrs. C are also nice and patient when they have helped me with my schoolwork. My grandparents are also very supportive by sending me to an amazing camp called Camp Hanaka. I typically go for the whole month of July to this camp. It is a wilderness camp without electronics and there is no homework, so it is really fun. And camp really helped me mature a lot, so I am glad that I had my grandparents' support. Looking back, I hope they know how much I love and appreciate them. Before COVID restrictions, Maple Street was a lot of fun. I especially enjoyed the whole school lunch on Thursdays with pizza and all of the students. I hope that the students all get to have that again next year. The teachers here at Maple Street are making a tremendous effort to create alternative learning experience, even with all of the challenges from COVID. I have not seen my sister Isabel since last summer, and because the Maple Street teachers are giving us online school option, I could stay home to see my sister and also do my classes. The teachers all have a lot of patience with me, and sometimes they push me to become a better person. I definitely would never have gotten as far as I have without the help from my parents and teachers to keep me on track. Thank you. Now it is my pleasure to introduce my friend Piper Morgan.
This year for all of us has been challenging, wearing masks every day and not always being able to play sports. I know it's been hard, but having school has really helped me. It has allowed me to stay connected with my close friends, and it has given me the opportunity to meet 6 new friends, all of whom I will continue to stay in touch with after I leave Maple Street. I still can't believe I'm graduating. Just yesterday, I felt like I was standing in front of the whole school and presenting our Greek Gods project. Or when I walked into the 5th grade classroom for the first time and the whole class started to murmur, "Who is that? Is she new?" I remember watching all the 8th graders graduate, but I never thought that this day would come. That I would have to make a speech, that after today I would never walk through the Maple Street doors or walk through the hallway to get to class again. At first it was hard being in 8th grade during the pandemic. After a while things started to feel normal again. Things started to go back to how they used to be. But if this pandemic never happened, then we never would have become closer as a class. We have been through so much together, and we have made so many memories that will be hard to lose. My teachers here at Maple Street have helped me through a lot. They have taught me so much, like always to speak up even if you're wrong, because there's no way to get better at something than to practice and make mistakes. My teachers have pushed me to be my best, even if I was not feeling up to the challenge. They encouraged me to stretch my mind, work hard, and think more intensely through each situation I encountered. Without them pushing me, I would have never been able to come out of my shell and become more confident in everything I do. So thank you. But most of all, I would like to thank my classmates, the new and the old, for some of the best 4 years ever. And now I would like to invite my fellow classmate, Luke Morin.
I'm one of the few kids graduating today that has been here since kindergarten. That's over 9 years, and that means that I've been at Maple Street for more than half my lifetime. This is ridiculous to me because it feels like it's gone by so fast. There are so many distinctive things that I will remember about Maple Street once I'm gone, and I want to remember these things forever. For example, when I'm walking to recess at 10:10 a.m., and you can still see the frost on the grass from last night's rain, and the mist that covers the ground on the small field. Or when you're leaving school at the end of the day in the fall, rushing your way down the hallway to, rushing all the way down to the hallway to beat all the other kids to get the good soccer balls for soccer practice. These are not the only things that I vividly remember about Maple Street, though. I remember that we couldn't wait until the end of the year when we had our yearly field day on the big field, or when we were younger, the younger grades were able to watch the older students play in a soccer tournament during Spirit Week. Or Pajama Day, because it was the last day right before Christmas break and we had all these fun games that we played. Then there was the first day of school and getting back to see all your friends from the previous years, and asking what they did all over the summer. These are just some of the memories that I will reminisce on once I leave here, and I'm glad that I will be able to spend my middle school time here. But I'm also very ready and excited to go on to a bigger school at BBA. This will be the first time that I'll actually have been moved schools, and my first school since I was 4 years old. And only when I leave this amphitheater I'll be officially done with this school. So I want to have a second to soak in this one last experience so I can remember all the fun times we've had at this school. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my fellow classmate, Kevin Oakes.
Throughout my 7 years here at Maple Street, I've met many of my friends, most of them being my classmates. I met most of them in 2nd grade. That was my first year here at Maple Street, and that truly kickstarted my great future ahead. I had so many great memories. The soccer season, running the trails with everyone, then doing sprints right after. Moving on from 3rd grade to 4th grade, it was Mrs. Thompson's first year here, and we had this huge test in all the U.S. states. Or when I was in 6th grade, and my group was the most dominant indoor Spirit Week soccer team. I have many more memories just like these, maybe just too many. Thank you to my teachers who pushed me to my full potential, and always would encourage me to do better. I took that to heart, knowing that you really wanted me to succeed. I'll take that focus and dedication to do my best that I can, and I'll carry it on with me throughout my 4 years of high school and then college. But I couldn't do it without such a great group of friends and classmates. They were there for my lows and my highs. They comforted me when I was sad or when I just needed a friend. I don't think I have gotten through this year without them. COVID was really hard to handle in the beginning of the year, not knowing what was going to happen. But there has been one special person that I have looked up to my whole time here at Maple Street. That person is my dad. My dad has always encouraged me to do my best, to get up every morning and try harder and do better. With that encouragement, I've done very well here at Maple Street, and I don't think I would be the same or have done any better if it wasn't for him. He didn't only motivate me to do better at school, but pushed me to do my best at everything I did, one of which being my favorite sport, soccer. My love of soccer came from my mom, who always played when she was in high school and college. Everything about the game of soccer I loved, and my mom encouraged me to try something new in the sport, that being a new skill or a shot. Thanks to my amazing parents, I have done well here at Maple Street, where the teachers are here to help and make you rise up and challenge you academically. So thank you to my classmates, to my mom and my dad, and to the amazing teachers I'll never forget. And now it is my honor to introduce my classmate, Grayson Peters.
Oh man, I might tear up. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. For plenty of years, I would lay in a chair waiting for the 8th graders to lay down their speeches so I could simply be done with school. Something that one person would say in their speech would strike my attention, and I would jolt back up out of a sleepy state. I'll take a pass on that endless list of thank yous and simply say one heartfelt thank you to all of you. friends, family, and teachers. I'd like to talk about the great memories I've made right here at this one school. In September of 2012, it was the first day of school, and I was ready to head into Miss Brown's kindergarten class. I was prepared to make new friends and go on through the many grades of Maple Street. I remember I was waiting nervously to enter the classroom in the library with my mother and father, and I was taking the books off the shelves and reading them to keep me occupied. I finally entered the class and saw my new classmates. Most of those people are still here today, and I would like to thank them for helping me throughout these long 9 years. Shay, Anna, Charlie, and Maddie, and Luke. Fast forward 7 years, and I'm on the soccer field at recess, ready to kick a ball. It is March, and there's still ice on the field. I slip on the ice, and I black out. I wake up to the sound of Miss Chaffee yelling my name and shaking my arm, and I think in my head, dang, I just wanted some sleep. With help, I walk over to a bench, and Dr. McCabe runs out with a coat and covers me up. This makes me feel taken care of, safe, and secure. Maple Street has built such a caring community within these past 9 years that I've been in it. This is what I'm going to miss. I remember one grandparents' day in 3rd grade. I was not able to have my grandparents there, and Maverick and his grandparents were kind enough to put me in their group. This made me feel really appreciated and welcome even more into Maple Street. I could continue this list of memories, but Mr. C says that there is a time limit. I'm going to miss the feeling of walking through the halls and down the paths of Maple Street. I'm going to miss that small 1 minute of time in the morning where I'm able to talk to my friends about their lives and how they feel while we're walking into our class. No matter how sad or tired you are coming into school, your friends cheer you up in an instant. And those are friendships that I never thought I could have, and I'm very thankful for having all these people in my life. These memories have brought me plenty of joy, but I'm ready to move on and dive into another chapter of my life. Thank you. Now, I would like to welcome my classmate, Lucy Pincus, to the podium.
When my mom first told me she was going to try to get me to move to Maple Street for 8th grade, I automatically said no. I didn't want to leave all my friends at MEMS, and I honestly had no desire to come here. I had been going to MEMS, Manchester Elementary Middle School, ever since kindergarten. All my friends were there, and I knew all the teachers. That was just my place, and I didn't want to leave my friends and everyone there. My mom had been trying to get me to at least think about leaving the whole summer. I was in complete denial that I would ever come here. My friends were begging me to stay because they thought I would leave them, and I also thought I would lose friends. I had struggled with online school in the previous spring at MEMS, and I started to think being in person at Maple Street would be good for me. But I was conflicted, and I didn't want my friends to think I wanted to leave them. I wasn't sure I would like it here, and I was worried I might not fit in. Over the summer, my family and I were at Lake St. Catherine, and we saw Mr. C and his family. My mom talked to him about me attending Maple Street, and I had a chance to talk with him, and he eased my concerns and worries. School at Maple Street was definitely a different experience, and I had to adjust to new things here. New friendships, new teachers, smaller-sized classrooms, cubbies in the classrooms, and a no cafeteria. MEMS had always been a big part of my life. It was the only school I had ever been to, and I knew everyone there. It was difficult for me to leave all all those memories and friends behind, but I know coming to Maple Street was a really good choice for me, and I wouldn't have changed anything. The people here are so welcoming, and it just helped me fit in. The learning environment was excellent for me, and I feel very prepared and confident in going into high school. I simply want to say thank you to my family for their encouragement, my friends for their support, and the teachers who made this year an amazing experience for me. And now it is my honor and pleasure to introduce my close friend and fellow classmate, Adelaide Redden. Oh God. Okay, 1 second.
Okay.
So, on December 11th, 2007, in Brattleboro, Vermont, I was born. I first lived in a white house with a blue roof, and all I really remember from that house is that it had a fancy sink in the upstairs bathroom, a fancy island in the kitchen, and a ladybug problem. And soon enough, my parents decided that the house with the blue roof was too small and too close to the road, so we moved into a bigger, nicer house in the same town. I lived there until the beginning of 6th grade.
From kindergarten to 6th grade, I went to Newbrook Elementary in Newfane, Vermont, just 3 minutes away from my home. Everything I think of from my childhood, like playdates or jumping on the trampoline or making cheesy music videos with my friends and making slime, which was one of my biggest obsessions as a kid, all happened in that house. When I was in the middle of my 6th grade school year, we moved again, this time into 2 separate, small, unfamiliar apartments. I transferred to Dover Elementary School for the remainder of the year, and it's safe to say that that was a fail. I didn't really have any friends, I didn't understand my schoolwork, and I was overall really unhappy. Then, my dad moved to Manchester, and I started 7th grade here at Maple Street. I was scared. I was scared of change, I was scared I wouldn't fit in, and I was scared I wouldn't be smart enough, and at first it was rough. Moving schools always has been for me. 7th grade was definitely not my finest year, but no matter how nervous I was walking up to the front doors, or how quiet I was to my teachers and peers, every day, everyone welcomed me. And over the weeks, every day, the walk up to the front doors felt less intimidating. My peers became my friends, which are now some of my best friends, and each day got better and better. Then, COVID happened and everyone went home. I felt safe behind a screen and in the comfort of my own company and home, but like most people and the rest of the world, I got restless really fast. And after what felt like a lifetime, 8th grade came around. Quarantine, although being a drag, gave me so much time with myself and my thoughts, and I wonder how different I would be if COVID had never happened. I feel like a completely new person, and I was way more confident in my own body and voice. I actually chose to speak instead of avoiding it, and I found my place on Maple Street. Myself and others saw a change in my personality and level of energy at school compared to last year. Past relationships and new relationships grew stronger, and I met some of my now favorite people. I made real relationships with my teachers, and they're all truly people I will forever, the rest of my life, look up to for their wisdom and willingness to help. New can be scary, and change can be uncomfortable, but Maple Street proved to me that change can also bring good. Maple Street will always hold a special place in my heart as a community of growth, acceptance, and achievement. Now I am pleased to introduce to you my friend and classmate, Shay Smith.
Throughout my time here at Maple Street, one of the aspects that intrigues me has been the chairs. Stay with me here. In kindergarten, I used to make note of the different chairs that we used throughout each classroom. Most were plastic and blue. Some in the lower grades were yellow. Chairs in Hunter Hall had a cushion. I always have and still do wonder why those chairs were not in all the classrooms. Such comfort would surely enhance the learning and results of any student. The chairs in 3rd and 2nd grade seemed large to me 9 years ago, but as each year passed, they seemed to get smaller and smaller. 4th grade was a year where everyone was nervous about the upcoming transition to upper school. From 5th to 8th grade, the chairs were all the same size. My 9-year-old self saw the halt in chair growth as the end of an era. I was right. Upper school was a big change in my life. I had more responsibilities, more homework, but throughout it all, my blue chariots of learning were there to hold me upright. In 7th grade, I ran for student council on the sole promise of replacing the basketball benches with the comfortable chairs in Hunter Hall. It was a promise I was eager to keep, but after being elected, it proved harder than I initially thought. I still have the confidence that Proposition basketball chairs will see the light of day once more. But chairs are more than a place to put our rear ends for a school day. A good and sturdy chair should not be the center of attention, because essentially a chair's job is to support you, without you even thinking about it. And I think that dynamic ties into the lives of quite a few people here. My situation for the most of the past year was not one that I would like to repeat. I was on remote school from March of 2020 to April of 2021. I sat on the same purple swivel chair throughout those 13 months. I really miss the chairs here at Maple Street. And I realized that so many people were supporting me. From teachers to classmates, and of course, my family. Most of the time supporting me without me even knowing it. Kind of like a chair. Whether it was creating a schedule that was compatible with the online lifestyle, or coming up with an activity that would be engaging for everyone in school or online, teachers worked hard to include everybody in this difficult year. And it was not only this past year, People have supported me all 9 years here at Maple Street, and as I move forward in my education, I am eager to see what chairs or stools await me at BBA and beyond. Now, it's been wonderful presenting this speech to all of you, but I must go sit back down in my chair. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce to the podium my friend and fellow classmate, Madeline Von Baumus.
Ever since I can remember at Maple Street, I've been helped by others. Teachers and friends have always been there for me since the beginning. The support I have received from each and every person has shaped who I am as a student, athlete, and altogether person. The affable culture within Maple Street has created a positive environment which I could never replace. It has instilled a love for learning within me which is invaluable. For this, I thank every teacher I've had the opportunity to work with throughout my time here. I also credit my ambition to all those who have supported me. The determination and eagerness to continue to learn and improve is an irreplaceable ideal which has been taught to me throughout my 9 years here. I am particularly grateful for the impact my family has had on me as well. My mother, father, and although sometimes I don't like to admit it, my sister, have been significant figures and role models in my life. The constant reminder that to achieve anything you must work for it has been a part of my family, and that has been a vital key to my success. Most of all, I am eternally grateful for the compassion and conviviality that has been continuously shown towards me every day. Now I would like to introduce to the podium my fellow classmate, Bowden Walker.
For years I sat on the floor in my old Spanish school's gymnasium, which was way too small to hold as many kids as it did, listening to the 8th graders drone out their graduation speeches. Some kids were sincere, others were crying, and some simply seemed happy they were finally out of middle school. I'm simply happy I'm out of middle school. After spending years dreading the day I would make that speech, I stand here today thinking of all of those in that gymnasium as I make this speech to you all. The hardest part about making the speech was thinking of who to thank. I thought about teachers, family members, and coaches before I realized the person who helped me the most was my babysitter, Natalia. Natalia pushed me harder to do well in school than anyone else. My friends went home, had a snack, played some video games, and then worked on homework. I went home, sat right down to do homework with her looking over my shoulder like a hawk. Then, once I was done, she would erase any part that had bad handwriting and would make me write it again. If I forgot my homework, she called every other parent asking for a picture of it so I would have no excuses not to do it. I took every possible extra credit assignment, and if I was assigned a creative project, she ran straight to Michael's, the store, and bought every art supply you could ever imagine. If there was a summer reading log, which absolutely nobody did, she had me fill it out by the first day of school. She had such an impact on me that I could not knowingly let an assignment go undone without a weird feeling in my stomach that I should be completing it. My entire life, she did not let me fail a single class, and there's really no one else I can thank for that. While she was hard on me, she helped me more than any teacher, and now that her days of helping me are over, I'm proud to call her my friend. However, the people that really moved me through school day were friends. Anyone you asked would say that I loved school, but what I really liked was being with friends. Some of these friends were dumb, careless, and occasionally unbearable, so much so that my own dad told me to be careful before I hung out with them. But they made miserable experiences so much more fun. Sitting in Boston traffic, in a bus packed with people, couldn't get me down because I was with my friends. Sitting through assemblies about school spirit with teachers screaming in Spanish out to hundreds of kids didn't matter because I had my friends there making me laugh. While I would give anything to be back at home in Cambridge with my friends, I have friends here now to make me laugh, and I finally feel ready for high school and this next chapter of my life at BVA. I'm glad middle school is over, and I was welcomed here during a stressful time, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. Now I'd like to bring Dr. Mikheyev back to the podium.
Thanks, Bowden. 8th graders, soon to be graduates and alumni of Maple Street School, family and friends of these amazing students, and faculty, I'm going to let you in on a secret. It's more than a little daunting to be the follow-up act to those fantastic graduation speeches. Maple Street graduates are impressive in their wit and their wisdom, their talents, and their fundamental human goodness. You give me hope for the future. I'm imagining a time, maybe a decade or two from now, when this group of almost high schoolers is a group of resplendent young adults living out Maple Street's core values of respect, responsibility, and community in their own unique and joyful ways. I can see a young student, maybe a 7th or an 8th grader, walking up to you to strike up a conversation to complain about middle school. I see you gazing at this young whippersnapper with some patience, kindness, and maybe a little bemusement. Friend, I hear you say, I went to 8th grade in a pandemic. Let me tell you about that. You would describe masks, physical distancing, wellness checks, and maybe some of the uncomfortable feelings of anxiety and trepidation we all experienced. The youngin's eyes would grow wide in anticipation that your middle school horror story is way worse than theirs. But instead of telling a tale of woe, you describe all the things that you talked about today. You will mention how you forged a community of kids who genuinely care about each other. You might talk about how you couldn't really see each other's faces all year, but oddly enough, this helped you see who everyone was on the inside. Your physical distancing made you be intentional about the way that you interacted. And paradoxically, this helped you build meaningful connections. You will describe the dedicated educators who recreated school amidst some really challenging precautions, and you will share the gratitude that you talked about today. You might even say that you learned about resilience as this whole school came together for joyful learning. In your yearbook dedication, you wrote beautifully about the outdoor classroom. Reflecting on this year, you declared, we weren't just getting by, we were thriving. We found that our time in the OC was an incredible multiplier of joy, of learning, of community. I wholeheartedly concur that Maple Street's outdoor classroom is an amazing place, and I want to thank you for your extraordinary and generous class gift to the outdoor classroom. I'm really glad that we're celebrating here today, but I think that the special sauce that multiplies joy, learning, and community is you. You came into a year filled with the unfamiliar, and you figured it out with the support of caring adults like your families and your teachers. You figured out necessary things like Zoom and Google Classroom, and you figured out enduring things like the value of empathy and trying your best. This ability to figure it out is a gift that will stay with you forever. You will take this with you as you head to your next schools and into life. You are confident learners. My imaginary future middle schooler will be as impressed with you today as your families and friends and teachers are. On behalf of the Maple Street faculty, I want to thank you for being the reason that we come to school every day, for learning and growing alongside us, and for making us smile. We are so proud of you. Please know that you are always invited to come back and visit us at Maple Street. The school might look a little smaller to your future selves, but the welcome will always be warm. Congratulations to the Maple Street class of 2021 and to their families. On behalf of the Maple Street Board of Trustees, and with the help of Peter Hirschberg and Jeff Chamberlain, it's now my privilege to grant the class of 2021 their diplomas.
go. Uh-oh. Everybody, just you guys. No, you guys stay. You guys stay. There you go. All right. Here we go. Asher Miles Barron. Nicholas J. Claudio.
Well done.
Charlie Sear.
Well done.
Holly Dick.
Well done.
Maverick C. Khaliba.
Well done.
Benjamin Scott Kirkpatrick.
There she is. All right, well done.
Lila Laub.
Well done.
Anna P. Markrow.
All right, well done.
Clement McCabe.
All right, move it on.
Piper L. Morgan.
Well done.
Luke Arthur Morin.
Well done.
Okay, take one step forward. Just there we go.
So you heard all my comments?
No. Sorry. Kevin R. Oakes. Grayson Peters. Lucy Pincus. Adelaide May Redden. Shay Otis Smithwick. Madeline Von Baumus.
Finally.
Bowden Walker.
Okay, we're good. We're good? Oh, no, not even.
Well, let him sit for a second, then you can call. Everybody stand.
Yes, stand back up now. Back up. Okay, class of 2021. At this time, please move your tassels from the right side to the left side. You are now officially Maple Street School's newest graduates. Congratulations. All right, as we wrap up this graduation ceremony and head off into this glorious day, first we're going to have the faculty recess, followed by the graduates, and then the audience. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
You guys ready?
Last night we all sat down. Where are the cameras? Dad, come on. All right, let's go. You're needed. We had the grandparents watching. Let's go. Come on. Hurry up. Photo bomb. Photo bomb. Get right in here.